The elite are all about transcendence and living forever and the secrets of the universe, and they want to know all this. Some are good, some are bad, some are a mix. But the good ones don't ever want to organize. The bad ones tend to want to organize because they lust after power. Powerful consciousnesses don't want to dominate other people. They want to empower them, so they don't tend to get together until things are really late in the game. Then they come together. Evil's always defeated because good is so much stronger. And we're on this planet, and Einstein's physics showed it, Max Planck's physics showed it, all. There's at least 12 dimensions. And now that's why all the top scientists and billionaires are coming out saying it's a false hologram. It is artificial. The computers are scanning it and finding tension points where it's artificially projected and gravity's bleeding in to this universe. That's what they call dark matter. So we're like a thought or a dream that's a wisp in some computer program, some God's mind, whatever. They're proving it all. It's all coming out. Now, there's like this sub-transmission zone below the third dimension that's just turned over to the most horrible things is what it resonates to. And it's trying to get up into the third dimension that's just a basic level consciousness to launch into the next levels. And our species is already way up in the fifth, sixth dimension, consciously, our best people. But there's this big war trying to like basically destroy humanity because humanity has free will and there's a decision to which level we want to go to. We have free will, so evil's allowed to come and contend, not just good. And the elites themselves believe they're racing using human technology to try to take our best minds and build some type of breakaway civilization where they're going to merge with machines, transcend, and break away from the failed species that is man, which is kind of like a false transmission because they're thinking what they are is ugly and bad, projecting it onto themselves instead of believing, no, it's a human test about building us up. And so Google was set up 18, 19 years ago, I knew about this before it was declassified. I'm just saying I have good sources, that they wanted to build a giant artificial system. And Google believes that the first artificial intelligence will be a supercomputer based on the neuron activities of the hive mind of humanity with billions of people wired into it with the Internet of Things. And so all of our thoughts go into it, and we're actually building a computer that has real neurons in real time that's also psychically connected to us, that are organic creatures, so that they will have current prediction powers, future prediction powers, a true crystal ball. But the big secret is, once you have a crystal ball and know the future, you can add stimuli beforehand and make decisions that control the future. And so then it's the end of consciousness and free will for individuals, as we know, and a true 2.0 in a very bad way, hive mind consciousness with an AI jacked into everyone, knowing our hopes and dreams, delivering it to us, not in some PKD wirehead system where we plug in and give up on consciousness because of unlimited pleasure, but because we were already wired in and absorbed before we knew it by giving over our consciousness to this system by our daily decisions that it was able to manipulate and control into a larger system. There's now a human counterstrike taking place to shut this off before it gets fully into place and to block these systems and to try to have an actual debate about where humanity goes and cut off the pedophiles and psychic vampires that are control of this AI system before humanity's destroyed.
Wait a minute,
humanity
the pedophiles
is only
are controlled of AI? How'd the pedophiles get in control of AI?
The pedophiles at a whatever level,
they rule.
The devil, whatever you want to call it, this interdimensional thing that gives them advanced off-world technology, the fallen one that's not of this world, is giving them advanced knowledge
What
on
are
how
you
to
talking
construct these
what
systems
what is
that have already been used before on other populations.
What?
Is that Satan?
But what are you
That's
talking
Satan.
about?
That's Satan.
But explain that. You're
Well,
saying something
Satan becomes
insane.
something that the stupid preacher tells you about, who's totally controlled, or something you read about on in the news or TV.
Right.
But this is an interdimensional force that wants to influence us to build something that absorbs us and kills us, rather than the divine free will we're given to build something much better that empowers the species. So the species is now making a decision
Where are you
about
getting
its
this
entire
from?
future.
Where are you getting this from?
That's what it is.
But where are you getting it from?
I know from looking at all the data, researching it, studying it, watching the enemy. That's the big decision that humanity has now got before us.
So if you were directing someone to investigate this on their own, how would they do that? So if you say...
Well, here's the problem. You get someplace finally in deep research where it's what every culture already said, what everybody already knew, what they're telling you in movies like Prometheus, what the elite admit in the New York Times they believe in is this, seeded by off-world systems.
Panspermia.
Yes, everything they're doing points towards this. And then you read their own writings, they believe we're this ugly, fallen, ugly species. We're all need to be killed. They're the rich billionaires who are better than us, and they're going to merge with machines and become gods and go to the next level.
But don't you think that most people who extrapolate from where we stand today with our cell phones and our Apple Watches and our integration with the computer and the internet constantly, don't you think that most people see that there's going to be some sort of symbiotic connection?
Yes, but
it's a very easy thing to make.
They were saying it before.
I understand, but a lot of people were saying it before.
Well, here's the problem. Who engineered what we were given? What is the point of the back doors, the Trojan horses? Here's what I'm getting at.
Who engineered what?
Here's what I'm telling you. The elite literally believe interdimensionally they were given this information and then built it. And here's the thing. They built it. And Google admits, even in data dumps to Wired 2 years ago, that they're building an AI that will end human consciousness, free will, and take over, and the next species will rise out of that. They've already decided our species.
But people have been talking. Marshall McLuhan was talking about that 50 fucking years ago.
Here's the deal. They built it. Amazon 2 years ago admits they can already, with 99% certainty, pick what their regular users are going to order before they order it and have it ready.
Instead of dragging this out to some nefarious end, isn't it entirely possible that all these futurists, all these technological innovators, they all see the same end game? That there's going to be some sort of a complete integration between people and artificial intelligence.
It's beyond that. Historically, everybody saw this coming.
Right.
And so this big battle.
All the futurists, all the people that study the future.
Before silicon chips were created. The point
Marshall McLuhan, I think it was in the 1970s, said that human beings are the sex organs of the machine world. And he was saying, even back then, that human beings are eventually going to integrate or become something that's a part of machines.
But what I'm telling you is there's a centralized system of what they're building that isn't naturally occurring.
Who is they?
And we're artificially early.
They?
The elites believe they're getting off-world, interdimensional.
But who's building these things that you're just describing right now?
I mean, if you actually read what all the globalists say, you've obviously read their writings, you know this, Joe, they are getting not off-world, but interdimensional communications to then build this system that we see lowers our IQ, makes us live less, makes us unhappy.
But when you're making these big statements, like they're getting interdimensional signals as telling them to create these systems that lower IQs, that's something you got to really prove. Like if there's please, if there's something you can show us.
All the studies show screen time, all the computers lowering IQs, lowering fertility, lowering our health.
But let me stop you right there. Is that a case? Is that a case of, is somebody holding a gun to your head? Let me tell you about me.